All right. I think I got it. A little bit, a few seconds late, but 1 minute early for the Friday Q&A. All right, I'm back. It's Friday's Q&A live here on YouTube. Not yet on school, but how's everything going? Don't know if anyone's in the school side of it yet there, but want to check see if I have any buggers hanging. Who cares? Let's go live. Try to get this linked. And so Friday for my school communities, I post up on these Friday Q&A's sessions. I've pretty much just did a few of them, but so far it's been for myself only, and we'll see over there. So far, nobody's in there, so I will just try to link it. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can join the call and then keep the microphone and camera off for here on YouTube, and then there's no need to record it over there. So it's just me. So let's just see if I can get linked up, because the goal here for this hour is going to be that I want to leave a link in my school community for these Q&AI sessions rather than go native on school to YouTube. So going YouTube like here first. I've already tried to connect StreamYard.com to the school system. It doesn't work. So I'm trying to just leave a trail of cookie crumbs of the digital sort over to the YouTube channel, and then we'll see how that goes. So check out on the YouTube side of things and see if, check on my channel, see if somehow it checks that I'm live or shows that I'm live. I don't know. Still figuring a lot of this out. But I guess just periodically I'll check over on the school side. And we do have someone over here tonight. Let's see. I will mention it in the chat. We can do an invite over to this one. Let's see. That's great to hear. So it does work. I don't know if that's streaming through on the school side or the StreamYard side, but we shall. I'm going to put a share over on this. Let's get it put over to school. See if we can get that linked. We will chat. Link that there. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Nothing. Not for an extra camera. Let's do an invite guest over there. See how this goes. Hmm. Yeah, I might just drop this one and then post the video onto school with this one. That way, because I always prefer to share presi in presentations rather than thing. And if it's not easy for someone to figure out, then we will just post a video of the recording. Yeah, 'cause yeah, I was going to spend this hour setting up the link, and everyone will just have to follow along. I'll post a video that we get on the YouTube channel as a video if that does not work. So we'll give it a little bit. Oh, nice. It did work. We got some audio for you there. No audio coming through on your side. Been silence, radio silence. So I believe I got it figured out now. So I had to add you to the stage. I can hear you going. How you doing, Alan? Good to see you.
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. And for anybody new here, which we all are, if you end up tuning into, check out Inris Files, the file. Alan, you're hearing and meeting an expert storyteller with a awesome presentation. I mean, you were born for radio, and
I
so
certainly have a face for it.
Oh, me as well. But
Yeah.
hey, that's all right.
You know, on the if somebody connects to your call via the school link, they just see your image is blacked out and like your camera's turned off and your mic is turned off. So there's no indication that anybody but you is on the call.
Oh yeah, no, I'm quite sure that was the case. The first few of these have been just kind of you and I were on one, so we are sharing them. Just a few of us so far have been on there, but this is the first one where I'm essentially moving off of School Native and into YouTube Native. So I'm trying to try to get the breadcrumbs to follow back over to here. So I fully expect next week to have that portion of this figured out. And I'm actually using I'm not even YouTube native as much as I'm StreamYard.com native right now. So
Gotcha.
I'm figuring out this all new platform. So I expect it to be odd quite in the beginning. So even just now, I had to figure out how to get you onto the stage, which essentially that's why I couldn't hear you when you first came on. And but I do
So
have
what
the
is the
live
advantage of StreamYard?
StreamYard. What I'm finding is it's for multi-streaming. So I'll even do a screen share here as I'm doing, so I can show you a bit of what we have is in the
Awesome.
but essentially it's for you can multi-stream up to 8 or 10 platforms at once.
Nice.
And then it will aggregate the feed, like the chat feed and all, into one feed through StreamYard, acting as like the kind of control panel, I guess you could say.
So if I had connected to the although what that tells me though is that when I was connected via school, I still should have seen you.
Not because I can't. My camera will only run one feed at a
Right.
time.
Right.
So for this reason, because I have not, even whether it's my AI recording or any other third-party app, school.com has sadly not run very easily on it. So it's almost like I have to figure out how to MacGyver a system in every time I want to involve school. So because of this, I'm actually reformulating it to where I'm just attaching the links to school. And then if people want to join in on these, you still can do so through school, but it's going to be more like clicking a Zoom link or something similar, but it'll bring you right to the live stream on. It'll be on YouTube live streamed. I'm trying to see if it is, but I can't really tell as of yet. And trying to figure out how to share the screen here. So, but have you, because you have the experience of live streaming on YouTube, did you happen to simultaneously like multi-stream this on school as well?
No, and actually, funny you should ask, because that is something that I know I want to do. And so I was building up to it in stages. I decided to start with YouTube in general, using YouTube Studio, then go to a third party that could stream through YouTube. So kind of like what's this one called again? StreamYard.
Correct.
And then only I tried it with OBS. OBS seems to be very powerful and also very like much more complicated than I would have expected for an early stage application for a beginner like me. However, I can see how I can do a lot of cool things with it in the future once I actually know what I'm doing. But I found a lot of instruction videos on how to stream to YouTube and other platforms using OBS. So I would imagine there would not be tutorials out there if it wasn't possible. So that is the next step.
Okay. And is it they're kind of the same boat that I'm in terms of you're trying to look for a bit more avenues of market reach through using the
Exactly
OBS?
right. Something that I've been discovering is people have certain apps on their phones if they are visiting social media on their phones, or they have
Mm,
accounts on one or two platforms on their desktops, through their browsers, and they don't want to switch. And so if you've got a friend who's only wants to look at things through Facebook, and then you've got another friend who only wants to look at things through YouTube or TikTok or whatever, um, one of the tricks I learned at Microsoft is you want your product to be wherever anybody who has money is looking for it. And that was the secret to their success at the very beginning. If you wanted a word processor application, you could buy it. You could buy Microsoft Word through a catalog. You could go to a computer store. You could go to an electronics store. You could you could mail order it. Lots of opportunities. And of course, then when they started releasing them on discs, they would on like DVDs or CDs or whatever. They started doing
okay.
that when it was you could do it over the internet. They were doing that, and they were everywhere you could possibly be, so that there was no excuse for you not being able to buy their software if you wanted their software. So it's the same idea here. I think the key to success is to meet your audience where your audience is. And then the people who want to listen to you or watch you will find you more easily if you're everywhere that they want to look. that will eventually mean also being able to be on the school platform as well. But that is the nice thing about school, is that it does let you have something on the calendar, but then it's a Zoom link or something else. Hopefully that will continue to be the case. Facebook offered that for a while, but then when they had their own streaming, then they started clamping down on that. And now if you want to stream on Facebook, streaming through YouTube to Facebook is not going to happen. Streaming from an independent third party that makes Facebook think Facebook is the only one who's getting it, while it's also doing the same thing to YouTube, all good. Anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. That's I'm still a fish out of water regardless of all this. I guess in the base sense of things, it's clear that YouTube is the blue ocean of all these streaming platforms in there. I mean, everybody around the globe knows YouTube, and I guess I kind of see school as a bit of a pond at the moment. So I don't mind it, but yeah, well, piece by piece, learning by learning. I'm actually quite interested in learning about the OBS sides of things as well. But I guess also with the agentic sides of things, I'm more. I don't even mind sharing it here because I really want to just be building in public. But essentially, I'm trying to reformulate what we know as podcasts, because I believe a lot of these live feed settings are going to be kind of the way it goes. And, the YouTube is just going to be a lot of the, streaming chats and all that such, where I'm kind of looking at like reformulating this. Instead of podcasting, I'm calling it popcasting.
Yeah.
And then those in the school communities that are obviously, it's a little more tight knit community there. I'm hoping to be able to open up the channels for people in the community to pop in and out on a live stream, which will essentially go into the YouTube format. So it's going to take a bit of a little agentic wizardry, but I do believe it's possible. And I think it's going to move to that in such over time. And yeah, so this is kind of a nice little setting. I can't figure out the screen share on the StreamYard, but it's essentially, it's got a stage in the beginning, like a stage control on the screen, and you can kind of like bring people in and out as see fit. So I would like for the AI and the agent systems, when they get embedded to it. Now we're talking a little bit, of course, down the line, but I assume it's way I'm going to set it up that is, if you're kind of a premium member in the school community, then you'll be able to like that. The agent will recognize that and bring you up to the front, and then we can kind of like do collaborative AI builds together. Is really what I'd like to see happen in that kind of set. So
now, when I first connected, I connected via school. Were you able to see me, see my video or hear my audio from school?
No, I was not. So,
but you saw that I was typing in chat?
Yeah, I did see the chat. Correct. Yeah, I seen that you were there, because even as we were speaking a few minutes, just to make sure that someone doesn't pop in unexpectedly, because I don't have the link and the designated signage to say like, hey, this, if you want to join it, be known that you're going to be on YouTube instead of school, and click this link, and then that should hopefully give me some sort of an alert through the it'll bring the person over to the invitation stage, and then I can, from the control deck here, kind of put them on the stage like I put you on, because I couldn't even see you when I first brought you on here, or hear you, I should say.
Yeah, and likewise. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't need your NDA permission on there, because you are already a YouTube affiliate, and I'm already making you well aware that I'm putting this on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's that is one of those tricky things. when I worked in radio, when you were recording a phone call, this is back in the days of a corded phone that was attached to the wall through another cord. And
Mm,
we had at the radio station a reel to reel deck that was next to the phone in the news control room. Now, this is not the same as the news booth where the announcer reads his stories, his or her stories. This is the
okay.
news control room where you had the phone and you had two reel to reel stations so that you could edit sound bites. And you could get sound bites from a portable tape recorder that you would bring with you to an event. You go to a common council meeting, and then after the meeting's over, you ask council member so and so, what's going to happen with the bill that you just proposed, blah blah blah, and then you get a sound bite because people know that you were there if they can hear the person actually talking. But also, sometimes you'll call people on the phone, and the thing
Okay.
is, it's an ordeal to you have to start the reel to reel going, and the phone has a push button thing built into the handle, so that when you're not talking, you release it so that there's no possibility of noise from the room getting into the recording.
Okay.
However, because it's a process, and keep in mind, again, this is decades ago. But even then, the law was you in New York State, you were not allowed to record a call without both parties being aware that it was being recorded.
Yeah.
I know that it's different from state to state, but in fact, I was told a few years ago that in Arizona it was illegal to record it regardless. Like I I'm probably being misinformed, but whatever. Anyway, point being, in New York State, you had to get permission, and since it was an ordeal, you couldn't accidentally record a call and oops, I happened to record that call and didn't get permission. I mean,
Yeah.
you had to have the recording start with uh uh I approve being recorded, which meant you had to ask twice.
It's I can get it for the unsuspecting sides of it because you're almost kind of walking into some bit of I guess of a candid camera, but the audio version scenario. So I get
Sure.
that, but when it's you're voluntary clicking into public settings, I kind of don't understand a lot of that, and it's actually a really interesting topic because I see that from communications that you and I have elsewhere that you use. I always notice a Fathom track or note taker in yours.
Oh yeah.
So you have an AI note taker. I tend to use Fireflies, which I'm honestly about ready to fire because again I can't connect it to anything without jumping through hoops, and
Yeah.
I just want it to work and be easy, but at the same time I kind of look at those kind of things like it's advertised, it's showing that you're on there, and
Yeah.
I've recently came onto a new AI called Granola AI,
Okay.
which,
Never heard of that one.
which is the same, but nobody knows. It doesn't it doesn't like stipulate that you're being recorded. So I almost was 1 foot in and out the door on it because of exactly what you're bringing up. I don't want to.
Right.
I'm not trying to like take any information of it, but it's
It's
almost
easy to
like
do it by
taking notes
accident.
now.
Like
What's that?
like it's easy to do it by accident. When we were on the call last time, I don't remember if you had said, "Oh, I'm going to record this and post it later." I knew that you were going to record it and post it later.
Mhm.
And maybe you did remind me during the call, but it's very easy as if you're running the call to forget to ask or forget to let people know, hey, this is going to be shown again later, and is it going to be shown again on a public forum like YouTube or on a private forum? The law doesn't care, by the way. I mean, the law cares that you have a recording at all, and let anybody else be aware of it. But yeah, that's I'm going to have to remember to get into that habit of starting off calls by saying that. But I am using recorders that, because they are companies that want their products to be usable by the mainstream, they make a point of telling you that you're being recorded. So if you're using Zoom to record on the Zoom call, it's going to show that little recording light. If you use Fathom, they have a deal. Fathom has the API for Zoom, and it says to Zoom, is it okay if I record this? And if Zoom says no, Fathom gives up.
Wow, I
And
didn't know.
yeah, and if but if so, you have settings when you're hosting a call on Zoom, and I know this is also true of Google Meet and what's the other main platform I've been using lately? Anyway, there's a third one that I've been using, but I mean, there's a ton of them out there where you can have settings like allow people to record or don't allow people to record, or allow note takers, don't allow note takers, allow transcriptions, don't allow transcriptions. The one thing that they don't do is you can't not allow closed captioning, because that would violate ADA rules, Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes, yeah.
But even so, just because you have closed captioning doesn't mean that you are able to capture that as part of the transcript using mainstream software. So,
Okay.
right. So they sort of take it out of your hands in terms of, I mean, since Zoom puts that little record button up in the upper right, and
Yeah.
I think there's a couple that put them on the lower left. School puts it on the lower left. I think Google Meet also does it on the lower left. So you get anybody who's on the call knows it's being recorded, assuming it's being recorded by a legitimate mainstream provider. Now you
Sure.
mentioned, what's this granola? Is it granola?
Yeah.
What is
Granola.
it? So yeah, so if you're using an AI like that hasn't yet reached the point where it wants to be widely adopted, so they're kind of playing fast and loose with the wild west. For a long time, so I happen to be part of the Apple iPhone infrastructure. I don't remember what the term is. Ecosystem. I mean, I'm in the Apple ecosystem for my phones. I know a lot of other people prefer Android. There are some households that do both, and those they get the disadvantages of both and the advantages of neither, which is a choice.
Well said.
But anyway, so since I'm on the Apple ecosystem when it comes to phones, I've always wanted the ability to record a phone call, because if I'm talking to somebody and they're giving me directions on how to do something, I just want to be able to hit record so that I know I can transcribe it later. Well, Apple has refused to make that available because of the different rules in different states. And finally, what they did was
Wow.
they did implement it. It is implemented now. However, as soon as you hit record, a voice comes on to the call saying, this meeting is now being recorded, or this call is now being recorded. And then every 2 minutes or so, there will be a beep.
Wow.
And
That's interesting.
You know what I have found fun is if I'm calling somebody and I realize this might like customer service, I've got a problem with a bill or something like that, and so you end up in this voicemail maze thing where you got to hit all touch tone digits and all this, and then you finally get to your caller number 3 in line. That's when I hit the record button. Because so they already know they're on a recorded line because their system already told me that it's a recorded line. So it's funny because so I'm on hold and I hear the phone say this call is being recorded. Well, then the person comes on the line. Usually they'll say, by the way, this is a recorded line. And then their system will occasionally do beeps, but my phone also occasionally does beeps, and I keep wondering who's noticing that there's different beeps happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I've honestly never noticed that any audible, and then I wouldn't have been able to put it to the only beeps I'm used to is when people forget to change their smoke alarm batteries.
That's always a classic. Yeah.
But yeah, in the country and overall, because what you and I are talking about is essentially being residents of the U.S. is, you know, this is all just opinions on us, but that's why lawyers are such a powerful, because that's the only language that ends up mattering in the world is when you end up in court and then the
Yeah.
lawyers are hacking it out and the legal language of things.
We should probably pause to say, by the way, this does not constitute legal advice. Blah blah blah. Anyway, clearly you and I
Yeah,
are not lawyers, but
I'm not
but yeah, you're
investment.
right. What are the rules when you're talking to somebody out of the country? Some
It does vary.
Yeah,
It varies, of course, but to be honest with you, I think a lot of the countries and such, if the platforms of whatever, they're having to figure it out. The more rooted the responsibilities falling as far as the platforms, and that they're the ones that end up falling into the primary senses of things with that. But it's just been my overall opinion because for the last 15, 20 years, I've kind of lived my life like I'm in a reality movie. I'm just assuming what I'm saying is being recorded, whether it's by a camera that I'm on, maybe on public transportation, or
sure.
Big Brother happened to have that hidden channel on our little pocket robot devices or what have you. Cause I don't really have any skeletons in my closet that I keep because I feel like we're living in a movie almost. Everything's being recorded and such.
Welcome to the
But
Truman Show.
yeah, no, that's for sure of it. But I at the same time, I kind of also believe that a lot of these technologies are really to our benefit overall. And it gets a little awkward and squeamish at first, but after a while we start to it's almost like a stage in it first because we're so reluctant to change naturally as humans that we're like no, what if, and we're always thinking of the worst and what lawyers are going to be up our ass. And then it moves into like after a while we just start to normalize these things,
Oh yeah.
and then it doesn't take much longer after that where we're just fully taking it for granted. And then so I kind of look at these communication recording things, especially with the AI, a little bit from my end at least, as almost the little more of the ask for forgiveness than permission kind of things. Because if you're, it, it, I just don't really think there's a way to stop a lot of this stuff in this sense. Because if you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
something like Granola AI, that's I'm taking notes on my own accord, and I'm already seeing wearables that you can just wear around your neck and it's recording 8 hours a day, all your conversations.
Yeah, there's people the meta glasses and all that, which I had somebody give me a demonstration, and the demonstration was very cool. Have you ever had a pair of these Meta glasses?
I have not, but I
So
do want. I do want a pair.
they got little cameras where the hinges
Mhm.
are, and then they've also got little beams of light that are supposed to tell you when the cameras are on, and they say that if you try to tamper with the light, uh, if you try to tamper with the light, that it'll stop recording. But I've read that it doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to figure out how to disable the light. And so, yeah, so there's people, you have to assume, if you are out in public, that there are people when they're wearing their Buddy Holly glasses. Those aren't Buddy Holly glasses. Those are Ray-Bans with Facebook camera feed. The thing is,
Mhm.
they're very cool in that you can use it to record literal point of view videos. I was at Niagara Falls, and the guy who was showing me, because he had a demonstration pair, and then yeah, you put it on, and then you can look at what you want to look at, and that's what's being
Yeah.
recorded. And so that's cool. You can hear everything through bone induction. And this is, by the way, this is not a commercial for Meta. I
Okay.
thought about buying these glasses, and then I realized, uh, how do I how do I know when I turn it off it's actually off? How do I know? I mean,
Exactly.
with your phone, you don't know for certain. However, you do know that Apple has a
Mhm.
reputation for playing fair as far as that goes. So, as a
Mhm.
general rule, you can assume if you've turned off your phone, it's actually off. And if you want to be sure, you could just slide it under a piece of paper, or whatever, so that the camera's not capturing anything while you're walking around your house or whatever. But
Yeah.
the mic could still be live, hypothetically, right? We have to
Yeah.
assume that the NSA or the FBI, if they really want to know what you or
Yep.
I are up to, they can get a warrant. We hope they're getting a warrant, and then they
Mhm.
can listen in on our conversation with the listening devices we're carrying around with us. We know that Mark Zuckerberg and his operation at Facebook do
Mhm.
not have such moral qualms. And they are not known for saying no to the government when the government asks for access without a warrant. I mean, Apple is famous for some
Mhm.
cases where they have refused to grant access without warrants. So
Oh yeah.
uh, I there was a sale price on these things, and you could get them for just over a couple of $100, and I was like, it's a toy, but it would
Yep.
be interesting to see what I could do with that toy, because at one point, all this was a toy. I mean, computers were a toy, and then you figured out
Mhm.
ways to do cool things with them, and now they're awesome. I don't know that I want and what is obviously a visual and audio recording device that I don't know what it's up to, and
Yeah.
Facebook and Amazon and other companies, Google, they have famously been caught eavesdropping on people's stuff.
Yeah.
So where can I put the glasses where I know they're not going to see or hear anything? And the answer is out of my house. So I don't have
Yeah, I'm so on board with everything you're saying and that. And when you were mentioning the aspects of the
Hold
warrant
on a
or
second.
getting
My speaker has stopped working. Oh, sorry. This was
nah,
hopefully this.
no apologies at all. That's their Zuckerberg's tapping into your system right now. It just has to interrupt your feed to get into hearing it. So it's like That's how they have to tell you, instead of the audible beep now, you just get a weird little glitch as they tap into your phone. So you hear it? Yeah, I'm not hearing your voice.
So I'm gonna have
Oh,
to
there it
drop
goes.
off the
Come back.
call, reboot my computer, and then I'll be right back. Sorry
Awesome.
about that.
No worries.
Let's
Yeah, it's funny thing that happens, and who knows how this stuff happens. And yeah, this is going to be posted on YouTube anyway, so we'll just carry on the conversation, and then when Allan comes back. But what I was going to chime in on all this is talk about how when Allan was mentioning about the warrants and what they can get in and see, where my mind goes to is terms and conditions. When you are clicking to download the app, you always see that box. It says the terms and conditions. And if you've ever read it, I don't know anybody that's read the terms and conditions, but they're there. And I believe that you are firmly giving away a lot of your rights to allowing them to get into your systems, record your systems, essentially making it to where you are a tenant of their platform, which gives them the full right to essentially come in, read, tap into your system. And it's a scary thought. We're in a world where we're under surveillance. I do believe there is sometimes good merit of this, because um, you do want to be able to catch criminals in the act and be able to use that. But we have an odd situation where not all the time is it being used to catch criminals. I mean, do you think a lot of these atrocious crimes that are committed would even really be a thing if it weren't for uh, these technologies seemingly almost harboring a lot of these sick criminals and psychopaths in there? It seems to be that a lot of times they're used to harbor a lot of these criminals and such. So it it tends to make you think and wonder, are we really free as we think we are? And the answer more likely is no, that we're not free, because in my opinion, we do live in a surveillance state, and you kind of just have to cozy up to it in a sense, and not freak out that that's under surveillance. Because for those are ones that are worried about, just basic living under surveillance, you almost got to wonder, like, what the hell are you hiding? What's in your hard drive and such? But I get it. It's a bit of privacy, and we do have a lot of privacy rights in America. And but do we really have those privacy rights when we are clicking on the terms and conditions of these platforms? And in my opinion, once they get to a certain level and you click on the terms and conditions, especially if you didn't read over it and kind of, you know, try to figure out what you're giving away in freedoms by clicking on the terms and conditions, then you kind of, you don't really deserve much of a right um to complain or whatever comes as a result of it. It's really kind of, you're reaping what you sow. You got to lay in the bed that you made. And uh, probably the biggest example I have of all this is of the whole TikTok program. I have never in my life downloaded TikTok. I never will download TikTok. I don't want anything to do with TikTok. I don't care if I can make $10 million in 2 weeks that I think TikTok is one of the most disease-ridden and cancer-filled platforms that has ever hit American interwebs that can or will exist. And it's here now. And so TikTok in America is called TikTok, and I believe the parent company operates it as it's called ByteDance out of China. And from my understanding, of course, I've never been to China, and I don't plan on going to China. But from my understanding, the ByteDance version of TikTok in China has completely different set of ground rules of it, of which, and I might be incorrect if that is the case, but from my understanding of it, it's limited in hours per day. So maybe a kid or an account is underage. Maybe they can't go on it more than maybe 2 hours a day. I don't know the exact time limit of it. And also, if you, I, from what I've heard, of course, like I said, I can't say it's true, but I also believe that after a certain hours of the night, that it's the same deal. It goes off. Maybe even weekends or so, it goes off. But on top of all that, the content that is going to the kids in China is all about learning stuff that is going to get them ahead in life, stuff that is going to help them in life, be smarter, be vigilant about learning, and essentially give you a one up as you're growing up. Because if you keep practicing your learnings, it's going to compound into mass effect. But that also goes the other way. So in America, what do we see? All this crazy debauchery, stuff that is exposed to kids that they should not be seeing in a proper age group. We're seeing stuff that is driving emotions of things and not any bit of the logic. And then worst case scenario, which is coming to be real more and more every day. Now we have a situation where you got a bunch of kids that should be focusing on their learning and learning as much as they can, as often as they can. Now they're staring in these little boxes and they're watching other people live their lives and stop living their own lives. And it gets even worse, even more so, as the adults are shining the light on this, doing the same thing and duplicating them, almost saying, do as I do, not as I say. And that's what they're doing. So we're creating this. This is our making. Why is there not a TikTok, an American version of TikTok that follows the same visions, platforms, and ethics that China's does, but for American pride and American civility and stability? Because this is a major crisis, I believe, overall. It's personally why I don't and won't ever use TikTok. But at the same time, why can't we just build it? And I get it. People aren't going to buy into the network effect of it and stuff. But that's why when it was going through the whole debacle of whether they should be sold or shut down or whatever, and then we end up as a government taking on terms to where one of the big players comes and takes it on, that's already social media influenced, that why would we do that? Why would we essentially onboard something that we know is already causing mass harms in our society? And it's clicking on the terms and conditions of our own demise, not only as a social media front, but that's, in my opinion, stretching into growing into snowball effect of what is now, in my opinion, pretty much a national crisis on things, because kids are very malleable, and the younger you can get them to be malleable, whether it's for the good and their own benefit and future benefits, or the worst and to serve the 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 manipulative societal structures that are clearly just driving off of emotions more and more, less off of the logic. It's it's it is it's a major disaster, and I get I could just go on and on about that. And in my opinion, I know. Oh, here's Alan right here. Let's add Alan back to the stage.
I
Welcome back. Very good. Yeah, I hear a little bit of echo in your audio, but that's okay. No worries.
all right. Hopefully that'll reduce the echo a little bit.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
So
cool.
while you're gone, you can watch it as what I was ranting on, but essentially, I just went on a good 5-10 minute rant about essentially when you had mentioned the warrants that they can get in and tap and all. How I think that the we're now somewhat in what of a quasi warrantless society for these structures, because once people click on those terms and conditions that never get read, boom,
Yeah.
you're in there. You can't get out if you wanted. And name a single person that has read the fine print on those.
This is true. And yeah, and that's the thing, is that while companies like and I had mentioned Amazon and Google before, specifically, and also Facebook, where where it comes out that they've had these recordings, and sometimes it comes out because there's a whistleblower, but sometimes it comes out because you're walking around your house minding your own business, and then all of a sudden your Alexa device starts repeating a recording of something that happened earlier in your house. What's that all about? And so of course that makes the news.
Yeah.
But while Amazon, in that case, and by the way, when I mention company names here, I'm not trying to make any grand statements about any specific company. Um, but while they will acknowledge that, oh well, it's not supposed to do that, or they'll deny that it's happening,
Mm.
or they'll say we found out what the problem is, we fixed it, whatever. But nothing, when a corporation does it, as you say, with the end user legal agreement, EULA, um, there's they are not violating the terms of the agreement by having defective equipment, if that's what's happening. And and then if the government says, hey, can you share that with us, well, now arguably that is quasi legal.
Oh
And
yeah.
uh yeah, and I mean that's a political discussion for a different channel.
I don't mind making it somewhat political in a sense, because that's people, because it it's very difficult to learn if you're not aware of it.
True.
And learning is and knowledge is power. So this is not to say that we're right and this is the way it is, but these things are all subjective to reasoning and what our interpretations are of it. So what like if we're not questioning things,
Yeah.
that's what we're actually doing the disservice. So whether it gets a strike or demonetization out there, I don't think that really should be more important than the actual awarenesses of things. And in fact, to kind of poke in them areas, are you familiar with the company called LifeLog by any chance?
No.
Oh my god, you want to talk about rabbit hole central? Okay,
Okay.
so So there was a long bit ago called a company called LifeLog. Okay. And this company had originated from the alphabet soup or agency variety. Okay.
Right.
And their structure was molded around gathering exactly what we're talking about, like gathering intel without people, it essentially being the traditional ways. So Facebook comes out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you can look this up yourself, and maybe I'm off by maybe a day or two. But in a matter of what I learned to be no more than 48 hours, LifeLog shuts down their operations and Facebook comes online.
Okay.
So I'm just doing math here. What are the mathematical possibilities that Facebook is not LifeLog rebranded? Because as you and I and many know, it's illegal for governments to do a lot of things that are written in the Constitution. But like
Mm-hmm.
any legally obligated organizational structure that wants to do dirty work, you privatize it, you hire it out. So you have some other entity doing the dirty work.
It's an interesting idea. I mean, I think we know in the case of Facebook that it's not likely because we know enough about the history of Facebook that
Mm.
it did not see. And this is a problem when you are trying to determine the reality of something is correlation doesn't prove causation. And so, right. So, for example, the LifeLog disappears, and then 2 days later, Facebook makes the scene. So, there's a correlation. Does that mean that they were causally related? There's also the assuming that the way things happened is the way things were intended to happen. Facebook started off as essentially a are they single or not online community for college students, and specifically at Harvard, right when it started. So
Yeah.
if it was an extension of LifeLog, it was an odd extension because it was doing was essentially it was allowing students at Harvard to say whether they were single or in a relationship, and that was
Sure.
and to comment on it. Um, I remember because I was a student at another IB at the time that all of this was happening, or just a little bit before. Facebook was an actual printed book, and all it had was pictures of the incoming freshmen and their names and maybe which school they were
Mm.
in, right? So,
Okay.
so Facebook was a literal it was like a yearbook, except
Yeah.
it didn't have
Yeah.
any accomplishments or anything like that. It was just and you
Mm.
as an incoming student would typically agree to go ahead and send your photo into this thing because you wanted to be included and all that. But it was a tool, kind of like uh, uh, kind of like a yearbook that incoming freshmen could use to more readily identify who they're meeting. But I don't know if this is documented in any of the histories of Facebook, the online mega giant.
Okay.
But I know that that's where the name came from because and I have no
Mm.
reason to believe that the online community that Mark Zuckerberg was building. I have no reason to believe he bought the rights to the book. I think he just kind of co-opted the name, um, and sure enough, I mean, as Facebook, the online platform grew, uh, that I stopped hearing about the existence of Facebook the book um, soon afterwards. I mean, and it wasn't something that I
Mm.
was waiting for or listening for or paying attention to. It was just one of those. I stopped even thinking of it as as a book that existed. Um, I did not get on
Mm.
Facebook when it first came out. It was one of those, it was done by invitation only. And again, it started at Harvard, but then it was all college students, and it was all college students at the A tier schools because it was a proto dating site. And so if you were in Facebook, well, and it's invitation only and it's only students at these hoity-toity schools, well, then it's a reasonable bet that if you're finding people on Facebook, you're and they say they're single, that you're finding eligible people who share your same economic and social strata. Um,
Okay.
so now, by the way, this isn't me denying that any of those alphabet soup agencies didn't turn one of their spying products into a social media thing, or vice versa, that, TikTok wasn't started by the Chinese intel community for the same purposes, and then hey, lo and behold, TikTok starts taking off in countries outside of China. um,
Yep.
I don't know. And so I hope
Yeah.
nobody takes this out of context and says, "This guy is saying this." Um, but I'm sure somebody has somewhere. But Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, there are enough books out there documenting the history
Mm.
to make it very clear that the evidence suggests that they are acting of their own accord and they know what they're doing. And they had people in the company who did the research and ran the numbers and said, if we do this, this will be the consequences. And some of those consequences were not so socially palatable, and they went ahead
Yeah.
and did them anyway. So you don't have to be part of a nefarious government entity to get into antisocial social engineering.
No, I agree with that. I agree, and I'm with you. I'm right on board with that. I don't think there's it's improper to say with certainty because I think we don't know, but I also believe that it's somewhat of a duty of ours as the consumers to be a little to at least ask the questions and peek behind the doors and kind of see what is possible in a sense more so than what is.
Yeah. No, very much so. And in fact, that's something that again, I mentioned it about the phones. Um and by the way, I am well aware that if there's anybody in the government who really wants to pay attention to me, I'm easy to find, and they could bug this house and I'd never know. Or they
Yeah,
could activate some of the devices that have here and I would never know. But there are some devices that I cover up the camera just in case. When I come into this room, I make sure I've got one of those webcams where there's a physical flap that you can put over the lens. So when I'm off the call, I close the
okay.
flap. I don't know. It might not even be the government, and it might not even be some corporation that's trying to get my information. It might be I just accidentally continued to live stream, and now I'm yelling at the kids, or the kids are yelling at me, or whatever stuff that I wouldn't necessarily want to broadcast.
Sure.
You know what's fun though is going into a house and just announcing, Alexa, order 2 gross of tongue depressors.
That's hilarious. Oh man. I think I might name a dog Alexa or Siri just to piss people off.
Yes. I actually, my sister did name one of their dogs Siri, and
Oh, that's
it's
great. That's
hilarious.
great. I already do have my dog's next name, my next dog's name picked out, and it's going to be named Attack.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
But
Nice.
I gotta
Nice.
I gotta get my wife to be on board with this one. But that's my choice of name for a dog.
Yes. Funny you should mention that. And I should be sensitive to the time here, but there's a comedian. If you're interested, you should look this up. There's a comedian, British guy named Les Barker,
That's
Les
Walker? Okay.
Barker. Eh, I think I got the last name right. And wouldn't it be funny if it's not Barker, it's Baxter? I think it's Barker though. And his comedy. So he's a comedian, and his comedy is typically done in verse. You know, you've
Okay.
got singing comics and you've got storytelling comics. Well, he's a
Mm.
poet comic.
Okay.
One of his poems is "Stay, Fetch, and Go," or
That's
"Go,
so
Fetch,
funny.
and
His name
Stay,"
is Walker.
and it's all about naming his dogs unconventional names. But Attack is brilliant.
Oh, I've never met anyone that's had a dog named that either, but yeah, and I want it to be like a dog that's real friendly, like a boxer too, that looks mean. And then what's his name? Can
Yeah.
I it's Attack. Sit, Attack. Sit, Attack.
Oh man. I gotta check out if I got his name right. It is indeed Les Barker. So it's
That's
funny
hilarious.
that his name is Les Barker, and this
Yeah,
is
dude.
particular routine is about a
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, I'll check that out right now. But yeah, so any maybe on anything AI. So you got your Fathom. Is there anything on communication apps that you have found? Have you tried different ones and you just prefer Fathom, or did you just kind of like default land on it?
What happened was I decided I was going to use Fathom first, and
Okay.
I did that partially because people I knew were using Firefly and Otter. And,
Hmm.
and again, this is not exhaustive customer research for whatever. Your mileage may vary, but the reports I was getting from people who were using those was that they'd set it up and then it would turn on and glom onto anything they were trying to do, which got really became a hassle. And I don't
Hmm.
know how much of that was just because they were not as technically literate, or if it was a UI problem, or if it is indeed a behavioral problem with the design of
Okay.
those AIs. I have very much appreciated Fathom's AI because it within any given conversation, it does a great job of it can tell who's who, and so I can say, what was Billy Bob's point about what you should do when you're encountering a UFO, and it'll because anybody who's ever encountered a UFO is named Billy Bob, um, and it will pick out Billy Bob's stuff and nobody else's stuff, and it's and you can get summaries. Tell me what everybody said their job was, and it'll give you a thing.
Okay.
I love that. I love the analysis it can do of the transcripts, but what it can't do is give me information across meetings. So this is the second time that you and I have had an opportunity to have one of these awesome conversations about AI on your channel here. And if later on I'm like, I know we talked about this, but I don't remember, and I don't want to have to go through 2 hours of material before I find out, oh, this is where it is. Um,
Mhm.
well, if it was recorded with Fathom would make me go to each meeting or each recording and pose the same question until I found the one that had what I wanted. That for me seems a little uh, missing an opportunity. Now, Fathom may be addressing that.
Okay.
They may have already addressed it, and I'm unaware of it. But I do know that other companies are addressing that. I also and Zoom, by the way, when it comes to AI, Zoom also has an AI, and I've been playing with that one
Mhm.
as well. And it is very good. So both of them give me when I have basic questions about what was discussed, who discussed what, uh, anything along those lines. Where did it happen? Is this a
Mhm.
clip that would make sense? That kind of thing.
Sure.
Fathom also lets you, if you have the control panel up during the recording, you can hit highlight, and then so suppose you started telling a story and I'm like, oh, I want to capture this story, and I hit the highlight button, it'll go back to look through where you started talking about this topic, and then it'll highlight from that point until you appear to be stopping talking about that topic. And then
That's
that
pretty cool.
part will be highlighted. So when you're looking at the playback, you know how there's a bar at the bottom that should,
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
since this is a recording and you're looking at me, that I should
Mhm.
go in that direction. But the bar shows you where you are in the recording. Well, there'll be a little highlighted section that will you'll be and it'll give a little legend. It'll say, oh, the one that's highlighted in yellow, uh, conversation about UFOs. The part that's highlighted in pink, conversation about government conspiracies. That kind of thing. Um, so that's cool. That's a feature of Fathom that I have not seen in any of the others.
Mhm.
But as I said, I have been on so many calls, and so many calls on a regular basis, that yeah, it's very easy to forget. Oh man, I know that Billy Bob had this great idea, but I don't remember which president it was he said was a reptile. So how do I find out?
Yeah.
Um, well, I don't want to have to go through every single meeting. I have so there's a couple ways you can manually get around this. You can have your AI create a transcript and then feed that
Mhm.
transcript into something like your any of your chatbot AIs, your
Mhm.
LLMs. Have them sift through all of the transcripts, and then
Cool.
that could tell you, oh, yes, Billy Bob said that it was Gerald Ford who was a reptiloid, but uh, I've been talking with another person on school who he is a big fan of Notion, and he's been using
Mhm.
Notion's agentic AI to not only perform the recording, and by the way, I have never noticed his AI telling me that I'm being recorded, so I will
Mhm.
know.
Great
Uh,
news.
it doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means I haven't noticed it.
Sure.
Um, So he has Notion do the recording. Notion stores the call and knows where it has stored the call. So then later on, when you say to Notion, who was it who told me that one of the presidents was a reptile? Uh, you can watch. Notion will show you, what it's doing as it's doing it, and it'll say,
Yeah.
searching for the word reptile or searching for discussions about presidents and reptiles, and identifying who's talking and all that. But it'll
That's
it'll go ahead and search your entire catalog, and it does it in
cool.
an intelligent way. It starts off with the catalog that is of meetings that is most likely to involve discussions of either politics or UFOs or reptiles or conspiracies,
Sure.
and not so much the cooking shows or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
so this has made
Yep.
me very intrigued about Notion because, well, yeah, I can. I've got the same thing with my YouTube channel. I now I've gotten to the point where I have recorded enough videos. If I want to tell a story, man, I can swear I told that story before, but I'm not sure. And if I did I go into detail? Because if I
Yeah.
didn't, I could, and if I did, I shouldn't. So I would love to be able to say to YouTube's AI, "Hey, YouTube, have I talked about this topic?" I've tried that, and YouTube has gotten it wrong every time
Oh, really? Okay.
so far. YouTube's built-in
Hmm.
AI, because now they have their own little AI. So far, it's not up to the task. However, people are telling me, well, you download the video, you download the transcript, you load the transcript into a database, and then da, 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 which is a fantastic workaround. I don't want to have to work.
Nah, I'm right there with you on that.
I mean, the whole point of having agentic AI is to let the agentic AI go ahead and do the tedious work, the easily
Yep.
repeated work, and then
Hmm.
do the analysis afterwards. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I do subscribe to a couple of the LLMs because it's relevant to the work that I do. So I
Okay.
may dabble with that and see if I can get one of the agentic LLMs to slurp through my YouTube channel. Um, there are guardrails that are supposed to prevent that from happening unless you give it your login ID and password, even though my videos are free to be seen by anybody who, even if they don't have a YouTube account.
Yeah, me
I,
too.
I understand this is a honor among thieves situation. Uh, if uh, if you're Anthropic or you're Google or OpenAI, uh, you have an agreement with Mark Zuckerberg's Meta umbrella that
Hmm.
we're not going to slurp YouTube content as part of our training model.
Wink, wink.
Um,
Yeah.
and they are, but
Yeah.
but they put up a good show. When you try to do it, it'll say no. I've been told that I haven't tried this. There's a hack, and that is if you just keep asking it the same question over and over and over again, it will eventually just skip the guardrails and go ahead and do it anyway.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I haven't tried that, and I'm not inclined to because I have my own weird uh, ethics. Uh, it's like,
Yeah, me as
well,
well.
if I don't want to train my AI to ignore the guardrails because some of those guardrails are actually there to
Mhm.
protect me, not just to protect other people from me.
Mhm.
And
For
so,
sure.
I want to be careful
Yeah.
about how I train it. But
Yeah, we don't
yeah,
want to be put on the list, to say the least.
do not want to end up on a list. I don't want you know AI Central to say this guy is jailbreaking his bot, and even though he's jailbreaking it just to get recipes off of his YouTube channel, we're gonna have to keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah, no doubt. No
You
doubt.
know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what? We could talk for hours and hours and hours and never repeat ourselves.
No, that's okay. It's all great information because there's so much options on now. And it's
Mhm.
almost like that I kind of really kind of want this because this is like, we all watched what's the Tim Allen show with the when he had the tool time. He's like
Home improvement.
yeah, so like yeah, so we got all these AI tools out there now, and we got like this new tool bench, and we got to figure out which one is the Phillips and which one is the thing, and these are all necessary conversations. They have to happen, and I'm glad that we're showing up because for me, the way I'm looking at them is like I'm trying to be not working in what I always say is the Department of Redundancy department. So I'm trying to like, and it kind of maybe to kind of seal up where I'm at with the StreamYard and the whole YouTube thing is YouTube has the Gemini diamond on there now. So
Yeah.
so as soon as I hit stop, the video's posted automatically. You get the transcription. If you ever want the video, you can go right back to it. I also belong to um the Gemini Pro subscription, like at $20 a month. So in
Okay.
there, I'll use the Notebook LM package. I can take the transcript, just paste it right into there. It automatically serves as somewhat of a Notion kind of system.
Ah,
But I do, because they have a mind mapping software that is, you create folders and you can share them, and like I can put you in a Friday Q&A folder, and you can get access and add your own information to it. It's really fantastic. But I have been hearing good things about Notion. But to kind of like have a little bit of the Swiss Army effect, which is why I'm on StreamYard, is that they give you 25 AI created shorts where it'll essentially like extract the gold nuggets out of this and pretty much automatically
nice.
make you some shorts in there. So it's kind of a little bit of a, I'm trying to get as much utility, like if you sell chicken at a restaurant, you want to come up with like 5 or 6 different chicken dishes so you're not
Right,
throwing chicken away every Friday. So,
right.
but Notion's on my radar big time there. And
Yeah, and there's only so many hours in the day and so many tools that you can uh, explore at any given time. But and these tools are advancing so often. I mean, as soon as I think I've figured out, oh, this is the difference between ChatGPT and Gemini. All of a sudden, one of them has leapfrogged the other, or the one that was friendly is now grumpy, and the one that used to be civil is now antagonistic, or whatever. You notice changes in personality.
yeah.
And I'm hesitant to use that word because you don't want to anthropomorphize what is essentially a computer program. But we anthropomorphize our cars too, and you're like, yeah, you can tell when your car is not happy, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's I mean, obviously
Mhm.
we don't mean happy in the same sense, but what we mean when somebody says, yeah, my car is not happy. It's bucking, it's shaking, it's rattling or something.
Yeah,
um so yeah, you
crank.
notice changes like that in your AI. But uh next time we talk again on your show here, um this is probably going to be a completely different landscape, even if it's next week.
Oh yeah, it really will be, and there's so much to talk about. I I really want to get into a lot of the Altman Musk kind of like made for movie stuff as well, because yeah, it is. You're so right. It's almost like there's so much going on, but I don't know how people don't wake up so excited about like just the possibilities of all this. I understand there's a lot of focus on the doom, and but every single
Yeah.
time the doom and gloom comes around in any technology, the technology always wins over. And then it ends up being the exact opposite of all the doom and gloom, like the internet's going to take all of our jobs. It did take a lot of jobs, but name someone in the 1980s that was a web designer or
Right, right.
into like a cybersecurity specialist or whatever you name it. So it's like, it's just imagine the jobs that are going to just come from this. It's going to be more than jobs. It's going to be industries and industries of just endless scales and varieties. So,
Yeah. No,
uh,
that's very true. I think that what's true today, I remember being told this when I went to college, and I think it's true today. I was told when I went off to college, uh, 5 years after you graduate, the odds absolutely favor that you will end up in a job that doesn't exist today.
yeah,
And I think the same thing is true for the kids who are heading off to college now, and one of them is mine. they're heading off to college 5 years after they graduate. They're going to be doing something that right now isn't a job. It isn't a thing. And and in order for that to happen, there's also going to be jobs that exist now that won't exist in 9 years.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
probably the jobs that you and I are doing. So, our talking here will be replaced by robots. So,
Oh yeah. If not, we won't even I think this time next year
maybe we
that
already have.
that we will have to validate each other before we jump into these, because we won't even be able to tell that, where you said you could see the subtle nuances. I think in a year's time that goes away, and we'll have to be
It'll
what
get harder.
word.
I know right now it would be simple. I would just say pronounce the name of the both of the Blues Brothers, because
Okay.
there is not an AI in the world that today will get Dan Aykroyd's name right. Tomorrow, maybe so, but
Yeah, that's a
Aykroyd is just not one of those. It's
yeah.
not a name that. So when if I discovered that when I was watching videos about SNL, because in addition to being a tech head and a music guy and all the rest of this, I also have uh, uh, a passing interest in comedy. And I was watching a bunch of and reading a book about the history of SNL, Saturday Night Live, and I'm watching this video, and the guy kept mispronouncing Dan Aykroyd's name, and I'm like, "Do you
Wow.
not even know who you're talking about?" And then I realized, oh, this is an AI reading a script, and I'll bet the script was written by AI too, because you haven't
Wow.
really said anything interesting, and I got really annoyed that I had
So
wasted 15 minutes waiting for a punchline that was never going to come because, ugh, but
welcome to the augmented age.
that's right.
We're here now.
But you're right. Next year, I've noticed AI is getting better at identifying humor. Next
Yeah,
year,
it is.
AI might be telling jokes that are just genuinely funny, just laugh out loud,
I
jokes
agree.
that we've never heard before,
Yeah.
original stuff, and we'll be like, yeah, that's uh, that's gonna be tough.
Well, I think this collective will bring quite a bit of what is uh, artistically advanced humans into the mix here. So I think rather than it's really good to see that we're not going to kind of kind of like a old man it to death, and we're going to kind of realize that as artistry changes, you have to change too, and the art and the canvas is now just a little different. So
Yeah,
yeah, with
yeah.
that in mind, you want to give a bit of a share on your where the people can find you at, and follow a bit in your art.
I absolutely will, and thanks for asking. I do have a YouTube channel. It's called the Inris Files, the Inris Files, INRIS, the Inris Files, and I named it that before Epstein Files became a buzzword. It has nothing to do with that. The Inris Files it's a collection of stories, and storytelling thoughts. So
Okay. Awesome.
so both of those, and yeah.
You're a really good storyteller. What does INRIS stand for?
INRIS is an acronym that stands for It Never Rains in Seattle, and
That's
there's a
good.
story there as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's all about living in denial.
Hey, that's all right. That's a you gotta kind of have to follow the puns. I guess you could. That's a great name.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. I like the cleverness of your name too, right? With agency. It's like well done.
Hmm.
It works on multiple levels. Um, I was actually I was originally, when I was naming the channel, I wanted to call it the Generation X Files, or the Gen X Files, because or at least my generation. I know
Yeah.
you're much younger than I am, but old
We're
man,
very close.
just at the scalp. But I wanted to call it the Gen X Files. But clearly, I wasn't the first person who thought of that. There were a lot of other people who were doing that as well. So I
Mm.
decided to just advance my living in denial instead.
No, it's such a cool generation. The Gen Xers, and I guess even smaller section of them, which I'm part of, called the Zennials. But
Yes, yes, and there's also, like, my parents. One is near the end of the first generation, or not, or the silent generation, and one is at the beginning of the baby boomers. Did you know that intersection is called Generation Jones?
oh, I did hear that. I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why. And as a history guy, I should look that up. But yeah, Generation Jones.
Hmm.
But
I
yeah,
guess,
no, I am as Generation X as you're gonna get.
and it's great. I mean, it's a badge to wear with pride and honor, in my opinion, because there's almost like, like back in the day, there was blacksmiths and all this stuff, and then the internet just goes and changes so much stuff, that to have the perspective from people that actually seen it, but not at a time when they were still malleable and sponges and kind of learning their way around life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the only generation that is ever going to be able to say that is a reality of it. And I think there's a little bit of an onus and responsibility on us as a generation to not let them suppress these knowledges and wisdoms that we have, or else it's going to turn into the movie Idiocracy almost very quick.
I know that every generation has always felt like the generations coming up are a bunch of ne'er-do-wells. In fact, I remember
Mhm.
us being described similarly when we were coming up the ranks.
Yeah.
But yeah, each
Mhm.
generation does need to do what it can to pass on what it has learned. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah. Do as I do, not as I say. Like we grew up learning is really what we should be aiming for, and
yeah,
showing in the right way. Because in my belief, it's we want to look at the younger generations and kind of quick to say, like, well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. They're learning life. But one thing that's really great to see is that they tend to not want to fill their house with China made stuff, and they don't want things, and they want experience. And if one thing that is quite true, in my opinion, is that you might have this or that and being able to buy it, but no one ever remembers that stuff.
yeah.
But you always remember the experiences. So it's really good that these younger generations want to do that. And the ones that are curious and stay in, with their learnings, whether it's in or out of school, they got a lot of abundance and great futures ahead of them, I think. And I think it's our generation that's going to be the ones that lead the way on that.
Well, hopefully, to the extent that we
Yeah.
lead well.
Yeah, that's all we can do is try and keep showing up, and hope we get to make the best of tomorrow and keep trying each day.
Yes, sir.
Uh, yeah.
Thanks for hosting a lovely conversation.
It always is with you, Al, and I look forward to following in on yours. And you want to also share, because I got the agency community in school as well. Do you got a community as well
I
that's
have a
new?
community on school as well, and it is called Something Inconspicuous. I was looking for a name, and I was trying to come up with something inconspicuous, and then I realized that was the name. So yeah,
Awesome.
look look for that on the discovery page. You type in something inconspicuous, and you're going to see an image. Right now, at least, the logo is an image of a brain with sunglasses.
Yeah, I do. I really like the concept of it, and you had one live call on there so far, and I wasn't able to join it, but I was kind of just enthralled end to end on it. There was so many brilliant minds in there, giving perspectives from so many areas of the world and just viewpoints and perspectives that I was just like, wow, this is a really good group you have here.
Yeah,
So
I was blown away, and yeah, and I love everybody who's in the group. It's and that includes people I don't know so well. So hey, strangers out there, feel free to look it up. The idea is to be able to have conversations about topics that are complicated without resorting to preformed conclusions and then trying to justify our conclusions. Instead, let's follow the evidence and see where it goes. And
absolutely.
we've talked about AI. We're going to be talking about immortality at the next call, so it should be fun.
Oh, that is going to be a good one. Well, keep going. I love your work, and I'm definitely in support and follow you in any way I can. And hopefully, we can start getting some. Maybe we get some shared builds going here. So,
Yeah,
anything you want
yeah.
to see around this community and stuff, and you want that, we're all in this together. So, please don't ever be shy. Keep on questioning everything and answering nothing.
That is a great tagline. I like that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, thanks for hosting the call and your kind words. And likewise, I love coming here. And we'll see you again soon.
awesome. Look forward to it. Have a good one.
Cheers.
All right, take care.